Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell. Lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and of course, I'm here with Lee Cockerell, the retired Executive Vice President of Walt Disney World Operations. Hello, Lee.
Hey, Jody, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I hit the road soon or hit the sea soon. Speaking on a Royal Caribbean cruise to Alaska. This is the third year that I've done this as an enrichment speaker on cruises to Alaska. It is a unique way to do a cruise, Lee, to be one of the speakers. It's kind of fun.
That is a very good way to do one. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. Yeah, this cruise, I'm giving three presentations, one on national parks of Alaska, one on whales of Alaska, and one on Alaska's unexpected Civil War history.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's
Well, you need to include Cherry Payne on that, see?
oh yeah, that's right. Cherry was
Well,
to catch you up. Cherry is Lee's sister-in-law, more than 30 years with the National Park Service, retired as the superintendent of Glacier Bay National Park in Alaska. And every time I go to Alaska, Lee, and I post pictures, Cherry always comments on them.
I'm
And
sure she does.
yeah, and almost every time she will say, "Did you finally make it to Glacier Bay yet?" And I say, "No, I haven't been there yet, but I will get there." You went to Glacier Bay a time or two when she was there, right?
We went there once, and Daniel and his family went there, and they just loved it. And so it was great. Yeah.
Well, I will say this: if you want to go to Alaska on a cruise or get up there and take train trips or travel and visit Glacier Bay or other parks, well, call our friends at Magical Vacation Planner. You can reach them at 407-442-2694. And Lee, I know someone who just did a cruise. That's the second or third time they've used Magical Vacation Planner, and they just rave about them every time, how they're taken care of. So get in touch with Magical Vacation Planner if you are looking for a trip. All right, Lee, I'm going to pull something from the headlines and combine it with something that I read in the Main Street Leader. So there's all the things going on with food safety right now. For a little while, it was blamed on Taco Bell, then it wasn't. I don't know what's going on, but it keeps making the headlines. Food safety is getting people sick. And at the same time, in volume 63 of the Main Street Leader, I read you wrote a part about safety, and you said that you should take a position of leadership, and you don't need a title, you don't need authority to take a position of leadership when it comes to safety. So that's what I want to talk about. You can wrap it in food safety if you want, but this idea of taking a position of leadership when it comes to safety in your organization, that you can be frontline, you can be CEO, but everybody should take that position.
Yeah, I think about that more and more of, wow, if you don't take a position in safety and somebody gets hurt or somebody dies, I mean, I can't think of anything worse that you would have on your conscience and your lack of responsibility for not speaking up. And when we say you don't need a title, we know that because the best title for focusing on safety is parents. And they, I was telling somebody this morning, I think parents, and hopefully the two things they really focus on in their life is for their children is safety and education. Those are, you got to get by those two before you think about anything else, because you get them when they're little, then they start crawling around and they can get into anything you can imagine. You think you got something locked, they'll find a way into it. And so I think this is one that we can talk about from not only being a good parent, but also in business, making sure that what would be more important than having a safe work environment for your teams and them to feel that to feel it, to know deep down, I trust my boss because he really looks out for us and he makes sure we're safe, not only psychologically, but also physically. We got door locks, we've got new systems, we got fire drills, we pay attention, we get a good orientation when we start with the company about safety, what to do, who to contact, what to do in case of this, in case of that, and that I think even back around Disney back in 9/11, we had done so many simulations and practice about safety in a crisis that it just automatically happened that day. Everybody knew what to do. They did it. And while it was a tragic day for America and for many people who died, it was amazing how well we handled it. And it's only because we got ready. We got ready for something that was going to happen. We didn't know what it was going to be, but we knew something was going to happen. And you can pretty much think that in your life. If you haven't had any crisis in your business, safety issues, don't worry, you will. It's just a matter of time. It could be internal, it could be external. We just don't know where it's going to come up next. You can have a fire in your house and not expect it. You can just anything can happen. A hurricane, an accident. You know, we hear about airplanes crashing into people's homes. You know, and luckily you might make sure you've had training and you know how to handle that crisis, how to get out, and fire extinguishers, and so it's a subject that is more and more. We got this latest outbreak with lettuce from maybe central Mexico that is making people sick. I think 9,000 people have been diagnosed with it. And a friend of mine was telling me that you can pretty much multiply that times 80 or 90, that it's probably approaching 100,000 people that have been sick. And Priscilla and I just went to have lunch today. We went to have some burgers, and we ordered a burger, and we both said to the waitress, "No lettuce," you know. And the scarier part is, I've asked many people in the food business the last week, have you heard about this? It's shocking how many people don't even know about it. And it's in the news, it's on every station, it's in every paper, it's daily on the radio. And you know, you talk about safety for yourself. One way to be safe is be aware that you don't go eat a head of lettuce and say, "Whoa, I didn't know," and then you get it. And so knowledge and being aware and thinking about every way you can keep your employees safe, talking about it a lot, because at the end of the day, at Disney, safety is the number one focus that we have there, and because. Can you imagine the terrible, terrible, not only human suffering, but what happens when a cast member gets hurt or killed, or a guest gets food poisoning? I guarantee you it ends up right in the newspaper, and it goes worldwide, Disney, food poisoning, and a child got sick, and God help you if a child dies. I mean, you talk about ramifications of a hit on your business. And so there are many things, there's many good reasons. One is certainly financial, one is legal. You can be held responsible for not applying your own standards and checks and temperatures and all of those kinds of things. So you can, if you're in a highly responsible position, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble by not doing what you're supposed to be doing and being responsible for safety and of the guest. And we know that. We know every day people are suing companies right and left. You know, if there's a light bulb out in your parking lot and somebody gets robbed out there, you can be held responsible because the light was out. I mean, it's unbelievable. The lawyers are really good at finding good reason why it's your fault. And so your best protection is to enforce it. Training, certainly as always, is training, and enforcement, so that we don't have that happen. And even if it does happen, we can prove that we had taken all the precautions, we'd followed the procedures, we had done everything we're supposed to do, and then you have a chance of not being held liable for it. But still, at the end of the day, accidents, they're going to happen. You know, if you don't, I guarantee you, even today, if you have somebody in your car and you don't enforce them putting on the seatbelt and somebody dies or gets in an accident, you'll be held responsible because you're the driver. And so And I just remember how much when you first had your children, August and Gretel, how much you thought about when they were little things crawling around in the cabinets and getting into things and getting out the front door and eating shoe polish, probably. I mean, it was like you we when you first have children, you think of is safety. When your daughter went on her first date, oh, I'm not saying you thought about safety, but I'm sure you did. When your son started driving, when just think about all the times that because you love them, care about them, that you made sure you were educating them, training them, and warning them, and showing them a way not to be harmed. So we need to not only do it for our loved ones, we need to do it for anybody we're responsible for. And in the workplace today, that's if you're a leader or a manager, you have responsibility for making sure this is one of your top priorities of thinking about. And by the way, when you have a safety problem in an organization, it really drives down the enthusiasm of the rest of the employees. Somebody gets hurt badly or dies or paralyzed or whatever it is. And I guess there's millions of accidents every day, and many of them were preventable. We just didn't do what we were supposed to do. Or accidents on the highway, speeding. If you hadn't been speeding, it wouldn't have happened. If you'd had your seatbelt on, it wouldn't have happened. If you stopped at the red light, it wouldn't have happened. And plenty of examples for all of us, because we're faced with these every day, and always have been and always will be. But let's be the leader and the parent that steps up and narrows the odds of anything happening to somebody we care about or somebody we're responsible for. So it's just a way of thinking. In fact, when I had my grandkids, they used to ride my car all the time. That was the thing I talked about most. They all knew. I had a little mirror. I could look in the back seat, and they knew I'd be, okay, has everybody got Chase strapped in there? And, the mirror eye is watching you. You bet. And the kids all got to where they know, there's certain things you do when you get in the car with Pappy, with Lee, is you put on your seatbelt. And that's how kids learn. They learn by role modeling. They learn early, and they learn in the workplace too to be safe. And by the way, a thing we don't talk about too, it affects profit, and it affects costs and publicity and all kinds of bad things. So anyway, it's just a good subject. I think we all need to renew it. We know today we're all thinking about it. Airlines. I mean, the airlines got you worried about everything when you get on the plane. If you see something, say something. And we all went through that process. And I think more and more, don't be afraid to point something out if you see something, even if it's not your responsibility. You might save somebody's life by just pointing something out that nobody around while you're out to dinner, you may see something. And step up and be a responsible person and take care of it and help us all be safe. So there you go. That's what I think.
Lee, give us some words for the front line because the front line may be the most important position when it comes to finding safety issues. But I want to make sure that the front line understands it's okay to speak up. You're not going to get in trouble. In fact, you're helping the customer, you're helping the team. So give us some words for the front line to encourage them to speak up on safety issues.
Yeah, we've talked about that lately, about making sure you have created a culture that is psychologically safe. People feel like they can say anything, they can speak up, they can bring anything to your attention, and they're not afraid of getting in trouble or being thought of badly. If you create that culture, and then you make sure every day you tell people, I want to remind you again, guys, anytime I want to hear about it, and I'm available, and I'll take a call. You can text me, you can tell me, and it will never affect my opinion. It'll only be positive. And you just got to keep telling people to get them comfortable enough to speak up. And that takes time, and it takes good role modeling where people talk about it among themselves, that they believe you. I went and saw Lee, and I told him this, and he took care of it, and it was a problem. They go back and tell everybody in the business. So you get a lot of PR for being a good, trusted leader that does the right thing. So it's around a cultural issue, and if you're a good role model, you'll spread it among your troops, and you'll have less accidents, and you'll have less people hurt.
Yeah. I don't know if we've covered safety before, but it's something Lee really talked about a lot when he was at Disney. He wrote about it in the Main Street Diary every week. Now in the Main Street Leader, often, not every volume, but often Lee talks about safety because he wants safety a priority in your organization. And the Main Street Leader is, I think, a good place to get new ideas for safety, to get new ideas for your team meetings, your pre-shift meetings, and safety can be one of the things you talk about. So you can find the Main Street Leader at mainstreetleader.com or cockerellstore.com. It's a great place to put safety top of mind again. Well, Lee, it is great to see you again, and I will see you upon my return from Alaska. I know it'll be a great time, and you and I talk so often, but we're going to have to go at least a week without seeing each other.
Yeah, you're off to on a cruise. I hope you really have fun and enjoy it. And I'm off to Australia, and I'll be back in a week, and you'll be back in a week, and we'll be back to talking about safety.
That's right. And when we come back together, we're going to want to hear about your trip to Australia, Lee. So we won't talk about that now. We'll wait until you're back.
And don't fall overboard.
Well, that is a safety issue, I guess. Yes. All right.
See you later, man.
Thanks, Lee. And thank you for joining us. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.